Not here. If Joan's not here, so you can have her.
Let them buy me, that's all I got to say. Already ate this. This will be my lunch. I skipped lunch there.
I already ate. Oh, see, Joan's anyway. She's sat next to you. So.
Oh. Rick coming? David?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll wait.
We can ask them. Yeah, we can ask them. Mayor, do you want to move the executive session agenda item towards the end?
Sure.
Doesn't matter. I mean, whatever you guys think. Yeah.
It's fine. Oh, that's true. We can do it. Or that was so here and this.
Yeah, I mean, no one's here for it, so.
Yeah. Okay. You want me to start without Rick?
Yeah.
Okay, it's Thursday, June 16th, 2022, 5 p.m. We'll call the regular city council meeting to order. Stand for the pledge of allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I believe Father James Griffiths is here for the opening prayer. Thank you for coming.
Mayor, council members, the Lord be with you.
And also,
Let us pray. Most loving God, we give you thanks for the beauty of your creation, for calling us to this amazing place to live. I ask your blessing on this council, that as they meet and as we as their citizens support them and work with them, we all together might find unity and remember that you are with us every step of our journey. In Christ's holy name we pray. Amen.
amen. Thank you.
Thank you.
And let me just start by saying that our thoughts and prayers are with the family of the victims and the people that were involved in the accident today on 361. And a special thank you to our first responders for being there and the work that they do, because that is not an easy job. And every day matters, but especially when something like that happens. So I appreciate our people very much. Okay, we're going to start with the public hearing. So real quickly, I'll read off the items. There's a zoning change request, ZCR 22001057. The applicant proposes a change from Newport Planned Unit Development Zone to a commercial CZ zone, and the applicant is the Nueces County Water Control and Improvement District Number 4, property location 5600 Highway 361. The next is the final plat, FPLT 22000996, final plat of lots 1, 2, and 3, block 1. The real last Woody standing, being a replat of lots 11 through 13, the remaining 17.2 feet of lot 14, block 15, Aransas Holding Company, subdivision section C, according with the plat recorded in volume 5, pages 34 through 35, map records of Nueces County, Texas, in the south 24 feet of lot 4, block 110, and the 60-foot by 16-foot tract out of lots 3 and 4, block 110, state land surveys on Mustang Island, along with 10 feet of south 7th, closed and abandoned by the city of Port Aransas by ordinance number 8523. The applicant is Miss Latte Inc., Christina Bell, president, property location 422 West Avenue G. And then a final plat, 22001048, plat of Tower Tracks, block 1, lots 1 and 2, 15 acres out of the Samuel Ward Survey 591, land script 194, abstract 407, Mustang Island State Land Surveys, Nueces County, being the same property described in the special warranty deed from KM Beach LLC to Nueces County Water Control and Improvement District Number 4, recorded in document number 20150505551, official public records of Nueces County, Texas. Applicant is Nueces County Water and Control Improvement District Number 4, property location 5600 Highway 361. Anyone here to speak on those items? Okay, we'll close the public hearing and go to item number 4, which is citizen comments and reports. I know I have 2, 3, 4. Okay. All right, so we'll start. Okay, no particular order. Billy Gaskins, you're up first, sir.
Hello. I'm Billy Gaskins, owner and operator of the Island Queen and Mustang. Been at Woody Sports Center for over 35 years. And when Woody's went up for sale, we started looking for a place to move our boats. And I approached the city, been a year or more now. And I presented a request to city council and went to meetings. I talked to everyone and I was told I couldn't operate a commercial business in the marina. The ordinances would have to be changed is what I was told. And so the answer was no. So I found a place to move, and then I asked the city what I needed to operate there. There was nothing on the property. So they said I needed a permanent building, elevated at 9 feet, be ADA compliant, restrooms and ramp, and to have parking for all the customers. And it's very expensive to do it, but we're doing it. And but as it turns out, you can operate a business in the marina. There's a dock, the pickup dock that anyone can use. Not only can you pick up your fishing buddy or wife or whoever when you back your truck up and trailer and go out fishing, but you can operate a commercial business there. You can bring as many boats as you wish. You can operate as many customers. You can come endlessly throughout the day. Doesn't matter the size of the boat or how many passengers it carries. You can load up right there and pick up dock and take the city's dockage, use the parking lot, its restrooms, and no one will check to see if you're using Coast Guard licensed captains or have insurance. The city dock is open for business. And so I would either say that, I asked to try to be in there and there was no way to do it. But if it is some way to do it, I want in. But there's a lot of controversy. That dock is kind of open. There's no rules. Doesn't matter the size of boat you use, how many people. And so we're down the street paying rent and got my own parking and all those things. So, I mean, if y'all have to make a decision of no commercial activity or commercial activity, I guess y'all have that in front of you now. So y'all do have a problem in the city marina with the dock. You need to make a decision on what we're going to do with it. That's my statement.
Thank you.
Thank you, Billy.
Thank you, Billy. Okay, next, Hope Love.
So sorry about my email yesterday. It was kind of scattered a little bit. I was busy. But I did send the engineering report. This is in regards to Whispering Sands. It's kind of been like an ongoing thing for several years. I only went back since 2019 is when we actually started kind of get the ball rolling on some things. We had a meeting with Charles. He got sick. All kinds of things have happened. It hasn't rained, so it hasn't been an issue. But it will rain again one day, I'm sure. So that's why I'm here. Just because we've gone back and forth. Dave has been there on a few occasions and seen the problems we're experiencing down there. And I do realize it's not a problem for Port Aransas as a whole. But as for people that live there, there's more construction going on now. I don't see the problem improving. Also, with the engineering report, I don't see any real solutions to the problem. It's a good report, but there really isn't a solution. And Jim is even saying there's not. But one thing that was not specified was a lift station, which we discussed at the meeting. You weren't at the meeting, but my neighbors and Kelby and Charles were there. And like I said, it's kind of been swept under the rug a little bit. And I want to get it back on the agenda. And I was told that you guys will be holding a special meeting, I believe, in July. There's going to be some sort of bond that's going to be
Goals workshop. Yeah.
What's it called?
The goals workshop.
Goals workshop. Because a lot of this, like emails from you've stated federal funding. I realize it's a money issue. I realize it can be a tax issue. But the problem is that the only thing that I'm seeing that's going to work in our favor is the fact that we can't get emergency vehicles down there. You've seen it firsthand. They could, I mean, yeah, obviously they could. Especially if they had a jet ski, it'd be really easy. But this is a hole. I mean, it's a bowl and it's been like this since 1980s. I don't know if y'all read the report or not. So it's nothing new and nothing's changed since 1994, if I'm not mistaken. But we're still allowing 5 new buildings being built. Thankfully, all those new people are aware of the fact that it floods because we told them straight up, because we were left in the dark when we bought our house, as well as my neighbors. We didn't know. We should have seen the signs because we had ditches and all that. And it's not about our personal property anymore. We have done all we can do to keep our house free and clear and dry. It's about, I'm more worried about just the drainage as a whole. And I think that it's hard for you and I to communicate on that fact because it's not about my house. It's just more about the drainage doesn't work. It just doesn't work. If it's broken, you got to fix it. So I'm just hoping to get back on the agenda, maybe November, when you guys are rolling that ball around, put Whispering Sands on there. Please. I'll be back.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, Kathy Fulton is next.
Hi, everyone. My name is Kathy Fulton, and I'm at 619 East Avenue B, and I apologize. I don't recommend rheumatoid arthritis to anybody, and it's kind of kicking my rear end here lately. But I did feel it was important to come and say this, as always, because I'm the only one that will be a bitch, I guess. There seems to be a rash of statements by both the Nueces County and the city of Corpus Christi about what the role is of city and county officials and their respective appointees. These recent statements that have been made by those officials apply to Port Aransas. At the June 7th Planning and Zoning meeting, there were some on the board whose behavior was grossly inappropriate. Certain commissioners demeaned and ridiculed other commissioners for asking valid questions or expressing an opinion. They mocked them for their questions. And when I say mock, I'm not saying that lightly. I recommend you watch portions of that meeting to see what I'm talking about. Excuse me. At times, the discussion devolved to personal insults that had absolutely nothing to do with an agenda item. I and plenty of other people have raised valid questions and concerns about the steamrolling development and drainage woes, along with other infrastructure concerns, lack of code enforcement, except occasionally, incomplete plat applications constantly being rubber stamped by the building department and the planning and zoning, and the regular occurrence of the building department had misleading counsel about plat and zoning applications. It is time from the last 5 years for these same complaints and concerns to finally get addressed by this council and the city manager. What went on June 7th was totally inappropriate and uncalled for. Every board, including a council, commission, or committee appointee, even our little dippy Old Town group, we are required to represent this city, not a developer and not our wallet, but the city. And by representing the city, the way we do that is we make sure something is adhering to our city charter and our code of ordinances. Now, if we aren't doing that, how do you do that? You ask questions. You get a plat in front of you and you ask questions. You want to make sure that the building department has checked off all. They can't be blank, checked off all the spaces. They can no longer be, oh, well, we promised this, or it needs to be where it's complete. And if a commissioner on the P&Z is asking for those answers, they should get those answers. I suggest that the last thing that we do here is that we need to change our ordinance. And I don't have the number written around, but the ordinance that needs to be changed is we need to make sure that a plat is approved before we continue to allow site work on these sites, especially when it comes to drainage. Plats have the drainage. If we don't have the drainage then, and people are just tearing it up, we don't know where that stuff is going to go. That is not appropriate. Mowing is the only thing that should be allowed. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kathy. Okay, Ed Reed.
I'm here if needed for 7A and B.
Okay, I just want to make that clear, just give you opportunity. Okay, all right, thank you, sir. Okay. So we'll move then to put the executive session further down on the agenda, which would have been in the next item, number 5, if that's okay with the rest of council.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right. So then we'll go into items for consideration, which starts with item A. And it's discuss and take action on ZCR 22001057 zoning change request. Applicant proposes to change from a Newport planned unit development zone to a commercial 2 CZ zone. Applicant Nueces County Water Control Improvement District Number 4, property location 5600 Highway 361.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. This proposal is actually the next 2 agenda items are intrinsically tied together. And the Water District's looking to create a little buffer area and to secure a little bit more property at their site for their next wastewater facility that they've secured a permit for and they're in design stages for as we speak. But to do so, they obviously need to secure property that they don't own. So the proposal, and Ed, keep me straight here. The proposal is it for the water district to do a swap with a private property owner that owns the property that they could utilize to create that additional space on their site and create a little bit more of a buffer area just to give them that buffer. Part of the negotiations in that is that the water district secure a zoning that would allow the property owner to utilize that property to a little bit greater flexibility than what is currently existing on the underlying zoning. So that's really the proposal here. This goes somewhat hand in hand with what we talked about and is a topic of the comprehensive plan, just to kind of go down into the weeds a little bit, which is the feeling that we need some pocket areas of commercial zoning just to move some of that commercial zoning out of kind of the center area of town and move it and spread it out down our city limits. This would be a step that would allow, at least that's a start. It's a small step, but it certainly, in staff's opinion, is a good one, quite frankly. So that's really kind of the simply in the most simple way to phrase it is the reason for the zoning change. The underlying zoning is a Newport was part of the Newport PUD from years ago. That whole a lot of that Bayside area was part of that original approved planned unit development.
Yeah, so if you look up at the map here, so you have our city limits right here along Mirage. The water district owns a flag lot that goes up and back. This is the site, right, Ed? This is the site of the proposed wastewater plant expansion.
For it, and permit is site specific.
Right, site specific. So they have to stay back here. They need more dirt though to operate. So this particular lot in front is privately owned. It's one of the only commercial lots that are on the west side of the highway. So this owner would agree to switching with the water district's tract up here. The owner would get this front tract, which is about the same size as their other tract, but only under the condition that the zoning went with it. So this would become public. Is it public? What's the correct designation? Public lands. Well, it already is commercial. It would become,
The green zone, what is it? Arc,
no, I thought we had like a governmental, we don't have a governmental tract, do we? Yeah, so I mean, what's that, Ed?
It is now.
Well, that's what it is now.
But I was thinking what specific zoning, water districts are allowed in any zone, so it's really kind of irrelevant what that zoning, this zoning would technically not even need to change because the water district can be in any zoning district. But the zoning of this would need to change. Right now, it's currently, even though the water district bought it and built their tower on it, the underlying zoning is Newport PUD,
Planned Unit Development.
which doesn't have a commercial component in it on that piece of dirt. So this piece of dirt would need to become commercial for the land switch to happen. And it would give the water district ample terrain and space to
And create a significant buffer
build out their
wastewater plant.
wastewater treatment plant. So if it was, if you guys would, I mean, what we're looking for tonight is if you guys are shaking your heads up and down, we would bring back first reading of an ordinance at the July meeting. There's also a plat associated with this, which is the next agenda item. And it would be the platting of this second tract here that the water district owns that they are looking to give or looking to do the swap.
And it was unanimously approved by planning and zoning at their meeting, and staff recommends approval as well.
I see, there's a YC2 instead of C1.
What's that?
C2, YC2, and not C1.
Is there allowed in some districts? Oh, yeah. Yeah. Rick, what was the request was to go to what?
C2.
C2. Well, because this is currently C2.
Okay.
Yeah, it's C2. This one's C2 at the end. It is not under any PUD. This one is part of the Newport PUD.
Which would limit it to residential and mixed use and not strict commercial.
Well, I think it's
Uses.
I think it's a golf course. Part of the golf.
Part of the golf course property originally.
It's the old
It's the-
2002 Newport PUD document that still governs that piece of property. So it would take a zoning change to undo it.
So the action item is actually approve the zoning change.
Yeah, but we would have to bring it back to you guys at first reading of the zoning change.
We'd bring the actual ordinance itself.
So we need to do a motion on to approve this then?
Yeah, or motion to direct staff to bring back first reading of an ordinance
Okay.
for the zoning
All right,
change.
then I'd like to go ahead and motion to have staff to bring back the first reading.
Okay, I'll second.
Okay, there's a first and a second on the motion to bring the item back for a first zoning read. Is there any other discussion?
Rick, do you have any comments on the one letter that was in opposition? They were citing traffic control devices and trash and things like that.
Yes,
Any
sir.
comments just, or?
No, so all of those, because it's Highway 361, all of those are text dot,
and
those
you're
are
just
text dot
moving the two
issues.
Properties, right?
Correct.
That's
Okay.
all.
Any other? All right, Fran, call the roll, please.
Councilmember Todd,
Yes.
Councilmember Chambers,
Yes.
Councilmember Cooper,
Yes.
Councilmember Owen,
Yes.
Councilmember Hart,
Yes.
Mayor Moore.
Yes. Okay, item B, discuss and take action on the FPLT 22001048 plat of the tower tracks, block 1 and lots 1 and 2. Applicant Nueces County Water Control and Improvement District Number 4, property location 5600 Highway 361.
So as I mentioned, this is the intrinsically tied to the previous agenda item. It was subject to the approval of that zoning request. So this is this would be the platting of that previously unplatted property that exists now that's identified there, the water district property.
Does it make more sense to bring this
At the same time,
to wait on, to wait for third reading? I would imagine we would do this at the third reading. And if you approve the third reading, then you would follow it up with approval of this plat, unless they needed.
I've not gotten any indication that there is dire sense of urgency. It would make more sense procedurally to do that.
Ed, do you have any comments?
Well, that's right. What about the timeline? Yeah,
Uh,
the
We'd,
platting clock
we'd
has
need them,
started.
we'd need them to voluntarily.
Yeah, they would need to voluntarily do
request
that.
that it be delayed.
I haven't talked to the board, Ed's here, but he can act as the board. They submitted this for approval. I don't know that we have the authority here today to take an action.
Yeah.
I mean, the fact that it's approved as a plat doesn't mean it's filed for a plat. I think they would hold that plat as
Okay.
a zoning and do it. It's just, get two things get done, they're not contingent on the other. Could be the clerks ultimately would want to buy it even if the zoning didn't go. So I would say let it go through unless somebody.
Yeah, I think we gotta let it go through.
Okay.
Right there, a motion to approve.
All right, is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, so there's a motion to approve and a second on the plat. Is there any other discussion? Okay, Frank, call the roll.
Councilmember Owens,
Yes.
Councilmember Krieger,
Yes.
Councilmember Chambers,
Yes.
Councilmember Seeloff,
Yes.
Councilmember Hart,
Yes.
Mayor Moore.
Yes. All right, the next item is discuss and take action on FPLT 22000996, final plat of lots 1, 2, and 3, block 1, the real last Woody standing. Applicant Miss Latte Inc., Christina Bell, President, property location 422 West Avenue G.
Thank you, Mayor. I don't know if there's anybody that's not familiar with Miss Woody's, but as the property it stands right now, there is quite a few lots, remaining portions of lots that make up that particular property that David's identifying right there. This is a replat, just taking all of those remnant lots and portions of lots and just platting them into one contiguous lot.
I thought it was 3 lots.
No, there's quite a few small remainder pieces.
No, there's 3.
I'm taking all of the pieces of lots and platting it into 3 lots. I'm sorry, you're correct. There's a multitude of remnant pieces there on the underlying conditions. If you'll look at the exhibit that shows like I said, 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7 lots in the configuration into the 3 lots that are identified on the final plat exhibit. All of the lots meet our criteria as far as size, street frontage, width, utilities approved, approved the plat. Planning and zoning unanimously approved it as well. So staff recommends our reviewing engineer also took no exceptions to the plat request. Staff recommends approval.
Make a motion on approving it?
Okay,
I second.
all right. There's a motion to approve in a second. Any other discussion? All right, Frank, call the roll.
Yes.
Councilmember Owens,
Yes.
Councilmember Hart,
Yes.
Councilmember Chambers,
Yes.
Councilmember Seeloff,
Yes.
Mayor Moore.
Abstain.
I
Motion carries.
do think one of the people involved in the accident today was one of her employees. So keep them in your prayers as well. It's I think pretty significant injuries.
Absolutely. Okay. Item discuss and take possible action on determining marina ramp, discuss and take possible action on determining marina ramp area policy to include setting the maximum time limit for vessel use of transient slips and docks, commercial activity in the ramp arena, and hazards to navigation in the ramp arena basin.
All right, the ramp basin. All right, so let me lay out real quick, kind of, I started getting calls, I don't know, maybe about 3 weeks ago. They started coming in about, various issues down at the ramps. Mainly stemming from jet ski operations that were kind of queuing up in this ramp area right here. So I think, and we have the operators here, so they can jump in. So if you guys want them to, but so, we noticed they were, picking up clients, which is not, it's not forbidden. There's no ordinance that forbids the picking up of clients. Actually, it actually specifies in the city's ordinance that anyone, if you're picking up clients, the ramp area is the only place you can do it besides the boatman's dock. So there are two places that you can officially be a commercial operator. Doesn't specify what kind of operator, whether it's a fishing guide, jet ski person, that if you are picking up, that's where you do it. The issue has become the ramps are so busy. This is the busiest fishing ramp in the state of Texas. These 4 ramps are the busiest in the state of Texas. On weekends, it can be very chaotic down there. So we need people getting in and getting out. We cannot have anyone. So let me give you a quick layout of the docks down there. These docks are city docks, and these docks right down here that I'm circling, we do not rent those out on a monthly basis. We leave them open for daily rental. However, if they are not being used by daily rental, a person can put in a vessel at the ramp, take their vessel over, temporarily park it, go park their boat and trailer, come back down, get in their boat, pick up their client, and leave. The area back over here, we do not do any daily rentals. This second circle, no daily rental over there. That is strictly for putting your vessel in the water, tying it up temporarily, go park in your boat and trailer, leaving. If you have a client, if you're a fisherman or a jet ski person, you can pick up your clients and leave. The issue we're starting to see is that some operators are staying too long on these docks. They're staying too long on the docks. That's one issue. Another issue is the manner in which we're seeing some of the operators conduct business. And when an operator, for example, has 4 or 5 jet ski clients, as each jet ski client is checked out, they kind of start a circling pattern in this area because they are waiting to leave as a group is what I've seen.
Can I speak?
I'm going to finish first. And so you can have a multitude of jet skis out here circling. And then when each jet ski gets checked out, finally, when the last jet ski's checked out, they leave in tandem. We're getting complaints, and we're seeing that it's definitely, it's rising to the level of a hazard to navigation. That's what we're being told. That's what we're seeing. There's a specific ordinance in chapter 18, I believe. Chapter 18, public places, and it just says, operation of vessels. No vessel shall be anchored, moored, or operated in the municipal harbor in such a place or manner as will obstruct navigation or boat traffic or create a potential hazard. So that's already in the books. So we definitely want to, it was a big enough issue to where I thought it would warrant a discussion at council to, one of a few of the options that we've looked at is, do we want to set a physical time limit and sign it and set a policy that there's I was thinking 20 minutes, but our goal is everyone needs to use the ramps. It's the busiest ramp in the state. And when things get booking down there, it's hot and heavy, and you need to get in and get out. We can't have people leaving their boats there and going eating lunch, and we can't have people thinking that they can leave their vessels. It's just gotten too busy. So I'll open it up to you guys.
I would like to speak on this. If y'all give me the opportunity.
You may come up to the dais. We'll state your name and address. And we'll start with 3 minutes and go from there.
Shandy Williams, owner of Getting Salty Water Sports, female-owned and operated business, and an invested member of this community. My address is 2513 Fannin Avenue, Midland, Texas, 79705. I flew in specifically at 4 o'clock this morning to be here at this meeting. I will fly out 4 o'clock tomorrow. So this is the agenda. I was told I was going to be on the agenda to speak specifically on this matter. My jet skis have never sat and circled. I own 11 jet skis. When I originally came to Port Aransas, when I was 13 years old, we started bringing our family vacations here. Soon we saw there was a need for a jet ski rental company. During COVID, we spoke with Harbor Master Dan, and upon speaking with him, he told us we could have the slip, gave us information. We talked with him 2 weeks prior to coming here, after we had already secured 6 jet skis. We put a deposit down for lumber. We were going to be right next to Tiki Tours. We arrived here 540 miles away, and he told us no commercial entity was allowed in the marina, which was unbeknownst to us prior to that, because we started a business because he said we could be there. We joined Chamber of Commerce, checked all of our boxes, and here we are. Getting Salty has grown. Getting Salty has 11 jet skis. It is a nuisance. We were told by Dan, we operated in full last year. We were told by Dan we could no longer be here, so we bought a slip. We went to Island Moorings. We've been all over the place trying to find a place for these jet skis because we're already invested. We went to Josh Garcia, and Josh Garcia said, join the Boatmen's Association. You can pick up there. Join the Boatmen's Association. We're not one to just get something for free, so I've been very invested with Boatmen's and the Deep Sea Roundup. I'm head of their merchandise sales. And so upon doing that, we knew it was going to be several years before we would get a boatman's slip. So we started out at Virginia's on the Bay. We started picking up at Fisherman's Wharf. Upon picking up at Fisherman's Wharf, they already had issues because they're so small. And so they said, go back down to the city docks. We spoke with Dan. He said we could pick up at the first 3 slips, not an issue. We told him, we won't leave anything on the docks. We've never left anything on the docks, and we've never left our docks unattended. One thing that I do want to say is there is a complete misconception. All of our jet skis are booked online. We do not solicit at the docks. That is one thing that has been said. When we haul our jet skis down for Virginia's on the Bay, which is $6,000 a year, we haul from our slip down just so that we can operate. Billy Gaskell's has been more than welcoming to say, if you need a place to park, if there's something I can help with, he just doesn't have the waterfront to assist us. We've done everything trying to get past you guys to do what we need to do to operate this company. I've bent over backwards, and here I am today. So what we're asking is, I've spoken with all of the fishermen who have supposedly asked for me to be kicked out. I've spoken with Randall Harris at Island Tackle, Brian Maurer, Janky Charters. He has 4 fishermen under him. He's supposed to be arriving here today. They all want me to have my own slip. They don't want me to be down there. And the reason we've moved closer down to the ramp is because Dan, the harbor master, came and told us we needed to use the first 2 cleats because it was Memorial Day weekend. And if we could start using those first 2 cleats, we would be fine. Now, this is where the problem arises. I have a booking and I can book every half hour. We do not sit there and we don't take money. We don't take cash. Everything is ran through. You are getting your taxes paid. I am literally crossing my T's and dotting my I every step of the way. When we do this, unfortunately, we have cancellations. I've got several cancellations, and I can show to you that everything, sorry, guys, I was planning on speaking in longer than 3 minutes.
Well, we'll give you a little more time, but we just can't, it can't be
No,
like a
that's fine.
2-hour agenda item.
As you see, this is my bookings. We booked through Wave Res. Last week is your top copy. It was 19 trips. I had 9 cancellations. I had 109 trips the previous year. I'm sorry, the previous month, 19 cancellations. I don't know that they're going to cancel. This is Port Aransas. They get inebriated. They stay too long at the beach. Children get sick. We accommodate however we see fit. And that's what we've tried to do. When you go into our Facebook page, we have amazing reviews. This jet ski company has the potential to grow tremendously. We're keeping it within realm of what we can do for staffing. We employ everyone on the island, everyone housing. If there's a housing issue, we try to see the need ourselves. We're not trying to put any more burden on the city. We never have. That was never our intentions. When I talked with Dave Parsons in 2020, I told him this was going to be an issue. I'm sorry that this issue took a year, but go me, go female business owners. We're doing something right in this community. I'm completely invested. I was just partner of the week for Chamber of Commerce, Memorial Day weekend. You can speak with anyone, Chamber of Commerce, anyone, Boatmen's Association, everyone who knows Shandy Williams knows that I'm not here as a fly by the night. I have the appropriate insurance. I have everything that you need in order for me to have a slip. I was going through y'all's municipal code, and it does say that no one is allowed to pick up at the bulkhead or at the docks that is maintained by the city. That's not true. I see fishermen come in all the time, and I'm sure 10 jet skis, that's a lot to them. But when you look at the amount of trips they're running 1 or 2 trips a day. I'm running 109 to 100, and that's in a slow month, to 150, 130 trips in 1 month. Everybody wants to jet ski. And I'm proud that we've given Port Aransas a business that people can trust. So we really want to ask you guys if y'all will give us a commercial slip. That's what we can set a petition up. That's what the fishermen want. They said they never wanted us out. They want us to have a permanent spot that we're away from it. We'll pay for everything, the floating dock, whatever needs to be done. Aesthetically, we'll make sure that it's done correctly and it's done to the community standards.
Okay. Thank you very
Thank
much
you.
for your time. So
if we let one commercial person in, are we gonna have 20? And we don't have the parking's full right now. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, that's always
I
been
would
the
like
biggest,
to.
I mean,
It's nothing personal.
you know, our biggest dilemma is that, for example, if you had a headboat and they wanted to come over and, you know, you could put headboats in certain spots in the marina. Granted, there's not a whole lot, but if you put a 60 passenger headboat in the marina, I mean, we do not have that kind of parking.
right, which is.
And that's one boat.
Right.
I mean, it's
And we didn't let the other guy stay in there either.
And let me go ahead and just say, you already are allowing commercial because the fishing guides are sitting there waiting for people to come up. They're actually, I've seen them soliciting. I've seen them sitting there all day. We've made great friends with them. If you knew my kids, you'd know why. We also have a slip at the Boatmen's Association. We cannot pick up the Boatmen's Association because we are not a fishing vessel. When we get down to the logistics of verbiage, a fishing vessel is anything that is used to catch fish, which is a boat or a ship. What is a boat? A boat is a watercraft. What is a jet ski? A personal watercraft. At the end of the day, we are no different than these guys. We're just a little bit smaller and individually captained. But we do have a slip. We've done everything. We've got a slip at Virginia's. We've got a slip at Boatman. I'm about to buy half the city out if y'all will put it up for sale because I need a place to be. David has said money is not an issue. I understand that. We are not a fishing guide. We're running a lot more than these other captains are. That's where the issue arises.
I think we just need to try to find a solution. Me personally, I don't think anybody questions the legitimacy of your business, and it sounds like you're super successful. So congratulations for that. I mean, I think that's amazing, right? And for getting involved in the community, because there's a lot of businesses that don't do that. They come here, they make money, and they don't get involved. So sure, let me finish. I think what the item is that we need to discuss is, according to David and staff and the people, I mean, the issue is the congestion, the things that are happening at the actual, pull in, pull out docks, right? So I think what we need to decide is, what can we do to remedy that? What kind of additional controls, what kind of additional, if you were told one thing and that's not the ordinance, then we need to fix that. There's some things that we need to do to button that up. And if in doing that, there's a way to provide you a spot to do your business, then maybe we can do that. I don't know. We have to discuss that, but I think immediately we need to decide what we're going to do about the immediate concerns with just what's going on at the pull in, pull out the docks.
Right,
It's crazy.
This is where when Dan told us we needed to be at the first two cleats.
Right.
I absolutely thought, why? And when I spoke,
Yeah.
I went into David Parsons' office and I said, we're moving the problem closer. And then if we pull out this 20-minute solution of putting that on there, well, what am I going to do? I'm going to put my jet skis on a trailer. I'm going to back in 11 jet skis and we take rides. There is a need for 8 jet skis, 9 jet skis. Our most has been 10 jet skis going out and 1 instructor. Only me or Blakely,
All our stuff is
ACOG
guided.
does it.
Sure.
Everything's
Right.
got it.
I understand.
Nobody goes out by themselves and we have never sat and turned in circles. One thing I do want y'all to understand is the people out there turning in circles and acting like fools, those aren't my jet skis. Every single one of my jet skis have a name on them. Patrick Swayze fan. So you've got Doc, Baby, Johnny, Sam, Bodie, Utah, Molly, all from Patrick Swayze movies, and every single one of our jet skis. But I can tell you there's sparks. And we've seen them out there. I got called from several friends telling me that my jet skis were jumping in front of the ship and he was about to get eaten by the ship. And I was like, wait a minute, my jet skis are sitting right here. We're fixing to go out on a guide. And they were like, are you sure? They thought somebody had stolen my jet skis. So my jet skis aren't the only ones in that marina.
And I don't think this is about you guys personally. So please don't take
Right.
it that. I mean, because if there is other people doing those things, then that's even more reason why we need to fix the issue, right? I mean, so maybe, it maybe has nothing to do with you and
Yeah.
everything to do with, other people, but we need to fix that. So.
So I've got a question on the docks. So on the further ones down, you're showing one to go on the right side.
Yeah.
Those are able, you rent those daily. Can I rent one daily on like peak days? What's the difference?
And
Well,
we just-
and that's one thing we're going to discuss is, when you look at the ramp area, there's about 17 spots for boats. 17 spots. At the busiest ramps in Texas, that's not enough. So, we can't have people sitting here for an hour, for 30 minutes even. It kills us.
For the day, like you do on daily rental, the front for the day ones back.
Well, and this was one of the comments that was made to me by, he knows several of you on the panel and does not want to be involved. And he said, he's complained. He said, but I've never complained for you to be kicked out. His complaint is Memorial Day weekend. All of those slips, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 on the end were all rented out. What did the patrons do? They pull up, they unload, then they're gone for the day. They go hang out at St. Joe's and nobody else can use those slips because they're rented out on busy holiday. We need to rethink that.
No, that's not true.
No.
Actually, the way the ordinance reads, if your slip's vacant, it is allowed to be used. As long as no one's, as long as if you come back, they make accommodations and get out.
Right. Well, that's not the understanding in the fishing community.
What you're saying, though, congestion, so you've got 4 slips for boats coming out all day long. You got 6 for rent. Take away your slip, you have people coming out.
Well, and that's something that we're discussing. My thought is none of those should be daily.
I agree.
I can tell you
think-
that I was down there one weekend. There was a big fishing tournament. Because that's what I do. I ride around the marinas and I just do stuff like that. But y'all were down there. I don't know if it was you. It was a little girl on the jet skis, but they were doing like an orientation.
Yes.
Then she'd put one on it. They'd go circle around. They were right behind all of those boats right there behind the pirate boat. Then the second one go out there. They're all tooling around. Then the third and the fourth. They were all doing donuts right there behind those boats. And finally, when they took them all out, the pirate boat finally pulled back out and went on. So they were doing that. Maybe it's an employee, you don't know what's really going on, but that was happening.
Well, and that could very well be my daughter. I don't know.
Well, maybe it was, but that did happen.
Yes, but we don't let them out until we're on our skis. But that again, hence the problem. And let me just go ahead and tell you, you just made the key remark. We're not supposed to, we were told, we were not aware that y'all were voting on 20 minutes. I was told that it was already enacted from Madison and we had 20 minutes. So that's what we did. We started pushing those skis out.
No, this is before we even talked about that. I mean,
This was this year. This was, yeah.
we talked about 20 minutes before.
No, I mean,
This was Madison came to me and told me.
I mean, here's the thing. I mean, I have the ability to sign anything I need. I can go do that on my own. And I was going to do that. I even made signs. I even made 6 signs. Whether they get put up or not is irrelevant. But I have the ability on my own to make and post signs I wanted to bring this to council because it just was getting a little bit bigger of a situation. But my belief is that none of these should be available for day use because they're too important. I have a skiff. I have used every one of those slips when I put my boat in. And I think there needs to be a time limit. We can't afford to have 15 people sitting in there.
And that's where we pushed them off because we were told that was already taking place. It was going to be a fine of $500 per vessel.
Yeah.
And another thing is, it's also been said that our jet skis are left unmanned. Our jet skis are never left unmanned. If you see our jet skis sitting there, we're literally towing 2 at a time to fins to fuel up. We fuel up on the water. Everything we do is costing us twice as much just so that we can support the other community members here. So our jet skis are never left unmanned, but that's the only time that jet skis have ever been pushed out was after Madison came to us and said, it's a $500 fine per vessel. I'm charging $120 an hour. I'm not going to lose myself here.
Okay, will you maybe give us a minute so we can talk
Absolutely.
in that way?
Thank
You
you.
guys have a seat, please. Thank you. You may come up and say one thing, Mr. Cassidy. Just one.
It's not the operators. It's,
Right.
I'm an operator and as an operator, you're going to find every way you can to figure it out and do it. 20 minutes, doesn't matter. I can load a 100-passenger boat in 20 minutes. It's whether you're going to allow commercial activity to compete with bricks and mortar people in the city. And,
Well, we already allow that.
yeah, the rules were written in 1985, and I think the intent was simply to park get the boat, and it takes sometimes 2 people. If one person does it, the same problem. You got to dock the boat for a minute, get in your car. I think that's what the rules were written for. I don't think they ever anticipated. The problem is if you go 1 can, 100 can, and you don't have a size limit, you don't have a number of, they got 12 boats. I mean, a guy can come in with 40 boats and just do back-to-back whatever, any kind of tour. You can come up with 1,000 tours. You can operate them perfectly, but out of the city is a problem. And if you're going to say 1 can, then 100 can, and you don't even have a number on the size of the boat or a 100-passenger boat or a 6-pack boat or any other thing. It's the Wild West down there right now. And that's my point, Thank you.
Yeah, we don't have the parking either.
This is all under construction right now.
Okay.
I'm just curious as to why you don't allow other operators to operate out of other areas within the harbor. The harbor is a very large area. Why do you push everyone down to one boat ramp?
It's
I know that, but like us, we actually have a charter business that we can't run off the dock. We're not allowed to do that. We would have to go to the boatman's dock, but it's too shallow for us, or we're too wide. And so my thought is that if everything is happening down around the boat ramps, why not allow people to operate? I mean, there's a Peggy Ann down there, there's a Pollyanna down there. They were doing business.
footprint.
But it's still, okay, but it's still a commercial.
That's right. They may have to dissect the words just right and put it to use like this because they.
Well, and then there's all these fishing boats that are along.
My people.
The shrimp boats, grandfather did. Jim, do you have a comment real quick? Sorry.
I mean,
We can move along.
Jim Urban, with urban engineering, I've been city engineer a long time and I've been involved in marinas for, seems like 3/4 of my life. I want to just say this, and I think it is time and it's a good time to bring it for y'all and what we want to do. Just a little bit of history. I think y'all remember back along that bulkhead, we had commercial operations. We had shrimp boats all along there. That has kind of been the commercial area for a long time. I think that some of those commercial activities that we've kind of subsidized that to have that kind of activity and flavor within the harbor, to be able to sell shrimp. We had the Pollyanna there forever and ever. So we've elected as a community and as a council to have that kind of stuff in the marina. We've gone and built these boat slips, some with grant money that specifically requires them to be transient boat slips. And, we play that game because we've gotten some kind of free money. We probably, I know that like dock one way over there on the far end is a transient boat slip, and we kind of designated that as transient to accomplish our requirements there. I think if I were the engineer of the city, I'd probably try to get people that were, and if you decided you did want to have these kind of activities, I'd push them as far away from, the boat ramp as possible. But the way the ordinance is written, we really restrict it. And that's why Dan Bond pushed everybody down there. I mean, I think we had a couple of people in what was the commercial area. I remember I'll mention the name of the guy that was running tours out of there. We sat down and looked at it, and what he was actually doing didn't really meet the ordinance. So everything gets pushed to the boat ramp. I personally think that the kind of activities that that all of these folks are doing is important to our community. We're a fishing community, whether it's the head boat or whether it's the jet skis or whether it's the guy doing charters, that's part of the culture of Port Aransas. We see a lot of the stuff on the bricks and mortar sides are evaporating because of people, selling them out for the highest and best use, which isn't charter boat operations. So this is just the beginning of what's going to happen to us if we don't plan ahead. I mean, you're seeing woodies in that area disappear. It's not unheard of to believe that it's going to happen in other areas. So as a council, y'all need to think about whether or not you want to make some accommodation for this, either in this marina or the future marina. Those kind of things have been important, and I think are important. So just kind of, and Billy was saying earlier, if you let one, you got to let 1,000. Well, that's not necessarily the case. If you have 10 spots for somebody, you've got to have 10, first come, first serve. That's what we do. But, we are getting down and squashed down into that one area, which is probably not appropriate for all the things going on. So I think it is time to think about it in a big picture. There's nothing that would prevent us from, allowing people to be in a different area. I mean, Dock 9 is all charter boat guys that are taking people out. And we've kind of moved people around that big parking area because that accommodates parking better than down on the far end. Far end's struggling. Trust me, I'm on Dock 2, and it's hard to get in and find parking because there's less parking per slip down there.
Well,
So
we had those slips there, but y'all are putting in boat lifts now right in there, huh?
we had slips there. I
Oh,
mean,
the commercial, yeah. It
yeah,
slips.
well, they weren't really commercial. They were just
I mean,
slips. They were
if you-
bulkheaded slips.
that'd be the closest to commercial you can.
Yeah, I mean, I think, Dan Bond, when he was talking about it, said, hey, I don't have any problem with putting, people on every dock that would allow to do that. I think we'd have people coming out of the woodworks that don't want that commercial operation on every dock. But, Boatman's was built kind of for that. And I don't know how many people are actually in Boatman's right now and how many is your city on that, but there is a solution. We just need to sit and look at the bigger picture of it and see if we can accommodate folks. It is true that we've struggled telling people what's legit down there.
Yeah, I mean, we have 260 something slips at 1.5 car spaces per slip. That already exceeds our parking.
Yeah.
So if you start talking charters, 6-pack charter, a head boat, you're going to bust our parking so quick. I don't care if it's 1 or 10 of them. We will immediately go from there's no room for commercial activity on the existing slips.
Where's that line begin to sign up?
Yeah, it's
Just suggesting.
we don't have, I'm telling you right now, we do not have the parking to start to think about some commercial allowance. If the only thing that we can do is build the second marina, but in this marina, the reason Dan sends people to the slips is because if you look at the cities, if you look at the ordinances. I lose some of my.
That's where the ordinances direct you.
Yeah, commercial docks. No, it's not that one. It is charter passengers, 18,178. No boat or vessel shall at any time pick up or unload charter passengers or any cargo for hire on or along the city docks, all piers, or bulkheads maintained in the city. Policy of the city is that any boat docked or leased in the city maintained slip will not operate or use the city docks or bulkheads maintained by the city for any commercial chartering enterprises. The boatman's dock and the ramp area shall be exempt from this article. So the reason for Dan pushing people to the ramps is because that's where the ordinance says they can do it. So for example, all the fishing guides that operate off a trailer in the region, and I'm talking the entire coastal bend, they come from Rockport, Ingleside, Aransas Pass, Portland Gregory, Cal Allen, Corpus, Flower Bluff. They all come and they are using the ramps. These are commercial. It's a commercial business. They're commercial guides, and where they legally allowed to operate, the ramp area. So that's what they're using. And because of that, and the fact that these are the most,
All on the same page. This is the ramp area, the four slots going down, so
there's the ramp area.
that entire thing is.
Yeah.
She means the Texas Parks and Wildlife side.
I mean, technically, there's no such thing as the Texas Parks and Wildlife. They provided the funding to put them in, but that's the ramp area. So that's where commercial activity is allowed to pick up charter passengers.
Which may be different than renting boats. I mean, I know in other cities, they'll come and put aluminum boats or other boats to rent. There's a difference between picking up a passenger and renting a boat. So, you know, I don't know if that qualifies under picking up.
I think the difficult part is that by definition may be the only place that they're allowed, right? But the problem is you have to find the room to allow all the personal watercraft people to put in and utilize that space as well. I mean, so that's the difficult part, right? Where do you draw the line, or how do you regulate that? Because you can't have the commercial world take over that whole area and then have people who just want to put their boat in on the weekend, or their jet ski on the weekend, or their sailboat on the weekend. I mean, that and to me, and I'm just guessing from the multiple times I'm down there, there's a lot more of that personal people coming in on the weekend. I mean, it's the only place to put your boat in Port Aransas. You can't make that so congested without in rules to not allow the individual person to come in. And I mean, that's why they come to Port Aransas for the most part. So what is the balance? I mean, we need to, and I don't know that we're going to solve it tonight. Right now, we've heard a lot from the audience, and I appreciate everyone's comments. I think that's super important because that's how you make these decisions as a community. You hear from people in the community, but we need to decide, you know, what's going to be fair as we deal with this growth and just people using that little spot. So we need to decide.
Keep in mind that we haul all of our jet skis down from Virginia's on the bay. So when we have a cancellation, if we enact this 20 minutes, like I said, we can book every half hour. If we enact this 20 minutes, we're hauling 10 jet skis back down for 15 minutes. We're literally hauling them down to haul them back for the next ride, hoping that the next ride shows. That's going to congest the marina as well. We're not here to be a nuisance. That's not why we started this company. So, but I do want y'all to keep that in mind, that we're hauling all of our jet skis down. Virginia's on the bay is private. And also, I would like to speak with y'all, you know, at a later date on what exactly is the boatman's, what are they allotted to do? Because we're told we're not a fishing vessel, so therefore we can't pick up there. There's a lot of.
Yeah, they have.
Have y'all been out to
great
Island
areas.
Moorings?
Yeah.
Have y'all-
Island Moorings, we did check with Island Moorings. We spoke with Robert Tipps. That was the first place we went when we were kicked out of City Marina before we even got into the city.
No, I mean,
And Island Moorings, they said because it is an HOA, it had to go before the HOA board. And because they own the land, which they own the land, they do not own the water. Nobody owns the water. And it was shot down because they don't allow airboats. Airboats have been banned out of Island Moorings. But you can also put your boat in at Island Moorings. We do all our paddle boarding and kayaking there just to keep everyone safe because it's too clustered at the marina to do that. And it's a beautiful place to go, and keeps them away from the ship channel for a good bit. So, I mean, we've exhausted, when I tell you we've exhausted everything, we've exhausted looking in front of going Port Royale. There's just too many people on the beach and they don't do.
Have you approached the boatmans?
Yes. Yes. And we got a slip. That's what we had to do
Oh, that's
first.
right.
We are at slip 803. So now I have 2 slips and I cannot do anything with either one.
Because even the tiki boat had to leave, right? And then now we've got a parasail boat in there. It's got advertisement on it. So they don't even allow them to keep their boat in there with advertisement on it, or you cover it up or something. I don't know.
Do we have any quick or reasonable solutions that we can keep her operating while we come to a better solution? Not like when.
Well, I mean, it's
Yeah.
summer, so I mean, we're in
Yeah.
the, we're in the
Yeah,
thick
we're
of
not
it.
gonna solve this.
We're not
tonight.
going to solve it tonight.
Well, I mean,
We have spaces in dock 8 that are not part of Bowden's.
Yes.
And again, I mean, I think,
It's not that deal.
I'm not saying that we don't need to find a solution for you, but we can't spend the entire council
No,
meeting
no,
trying to find a
absolutely.
solution for your business, because to Mr. Gaskin's point, there could be 5 more companies show up tomorrow. It's an issue in general that we need to address. So we need to decide whether we're going to remain having agenda time to try to find a solution tonight, or we're going to move on, maybe have a special meeting, do something, get staff to come up with a
I
temporary
think,
solution.
I think for now, I'm gonna sign all that area as 20-minute. Because I can't afford to have people camping out on the slips, and I'm gonna eliminate the
Daily rental.
daily rental.
Okay.
And we'll see what that does.
So the question I have, we
Okay,
can work
okay.
together on that. Us and Sandy or my wife. We have people work for us. So if we bring our stuff down, have a guy at location, do the classes real quick, pull in, load them, take them out. What's our plan to do now? 20 minutes, right? So if we're over 25 minutes, we can fine for that. Things happen, get fuel going to the marina, there's traffic in the marina. So if I bring people in, orientate them, no skis are there yet, skis drive up, we load them, we all go together, takes 25 minutes. We had a hitch and get to the marina. That's gonna be a question I have about that. So if I go over 20 minutes because that happens, because I can't get to the spot, how does that work with that? How you gonna monitor that? You have a stopwatch there, somebody saying he just pulled in 20 minutes, full-time employee doing that, that makes no sense to me. So how are we gonna?
But I mean, at the
monitor
same time, we've got to control that.
that? I agree.
Yeah, I can't have you guys camping out.
We got to, we've got to do something. So
Yeah.
I think that, I mean, we can discuss this further, but I mean, I don't know what council is leisure, if y'all are acceptable with allowing Dave to come up with that solution for now.
I think at this point in time, Dave needs to make that decision, because being summertime here, we don't have time to make.
Oh, I agree.
Yeah.
Sarah.
Yeah.
We don't have,
Yeah.
it
So
could take weeks.
So I
to-
think if we can find a way to work together,
Yeah.
that's the whole thing. I mean, we're gonna be the best we can for time. We may run over a couple months. Is that gonna be a factor? That's what I'm asking.
I will use it as a tool. And if I see people that are camping out, I'll use the tool.
Yeah.
But I gotta have something. I can't just keep fielding phone calls my whole summer, because it's the
No.
busiest ramps in the state. I can't afford anyone camping out
Yeah.
on any of them. It's just,
We agree 100%.
And
It's
it's
too
not
much.
just the ramps too, it's every business, every boat that's
Yeah.
coming in and out of the harbor and area marina.
Yeah.
I mean,
and the jet
Fishing
skis
tournament.
Yeah.
and a whole bunch of novice use, and I know some jet ski owners are, some of your guys are return customers and know what they're doing, but these ones that are just out there circling, we just can't have that kind of navigation hazard going on. So I mean, we need to get that area cleaned up, and we need to get people in and out.
Okay, we need to move on.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. We've got to move on.
Let
Thank
me
you
get
guys.
2 seconds.
Okay.
All right.
The part from the ramp to that first finger up here.
Yeah.
People that park their boats right there, that is such a hazard. People that should not even, they shouldn't be able to keep if you keep your boat.
You mean
20 minutes.
this one right there?
Yes, 20
Yeah.
minutes right there. Those people using that ramp, they have no
can't get
place to go.
Yeah.
And most
Yeah.
of those people don't know how to drive a boat.
Yes.
I watch them all the time. Every
right
weekend,
there.
a
That's
truck
right.
goes in the water.
You're right.
Because
That
they
should be
drive
fine.
their truck.
So don't we just post that as not even use it?
Well, I mean, what is a good thing is when people put in down this ramp right here, and yet they have person walking the boat down with a line, and that's where they go. So I mean, it is to have, I mean, it's nice to have
It's
that.
gotta be.
Yes.
Or mechanical problems.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's just a hazard.
but it's just the importance of it. They need to get in and get out.
Then maybe that can be a shorter term. Instead of 20 minutes there, maybe that's, just more of an in and out and
10
then
minutes or
down
whatever.
there, yeah.
Put in and
Because
out.
it is.
Put in and out.
In and out. All right, okay. Thank you.
Okay, all right, we're gonna move on. All right, item E, discuss and take action on the alternative parking plan for the Sip Yard, applicant Kelby McCann, property location 123 West Cotter Avenue.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. As you're aware, we've got a provision in the ordinance that planning and zoning can review and council can approve an alternative parking plan rather than it can modify the requirements for on-site parking that each use has specifically stated in our ordinance. This is one such plan. I don't know if the applicant or anybody is here to represent the applicant. That's fine. I'll set it up, and if they have any questions, I'll let you. But we've talked about it, and city manager and I sat down. We talked to Mr. McCann. The basic premise in the basis of the application is that he's of the belief is that we have grown into a golf cart rich environment. His venue will attract that particular segment in those particular types of vehicles, and as such, then he's looking to substitute, I believe, 20 of the required parking, which would be full-size parking, 20 of those for golf cart parking. I believe that works out to 18% of the total. 18% of his total required parking would then be golf carts.
So
We have councils have in the past allowed that specific use. This is as high of a percentage as we've needed, but I don't know when the last one that's come before council. So it's been a while. So that's the layout. There's no hard and fast formula that exists now. It's a case by case basis, completely determined by council. We do require, when approved, any percentage that's approved, we do require that it, and we caution the applicants that if approved, we do require that be signed as golf cart only parking. So that's always a
So is that
risk that you have to take.
95 total
Where does the
parking spots?
18% come in from?
There's 95
It's
total
95
parking
spots.
So should we?
and 20 golf.
That must have been whenever there's more parking spaces or something.
Because it goes up to
So that's
21%.
18%.
Total.
Got them all the way to the front.
Everybody just come
You have to
along.
state your name, address, what your point is. No.
I'm Jason Wood. I live at 428 Bahia Mark in Island Ones. I'm one of the partners in the Sip Yard. But the way I understand it is that we went back and redrew it up. I guess there was some green space everybody was talking about. The green space is actually a kid zone. It's not for more adults. It's not for more tables. It's not for a bar area. It's an actual kid zone for the kids that come with the adults. So, and I don't have.
I think there were
actual
20
parking thing.
spaces there at one time, Jason.
Yeah.
And
I
then you
I have the drawing.
Oh, okay.
okay, then it cut it in half.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
but
they
I
added
think we
more.
moved some parking around.
Right.
There is some golf cart parking. Someone threw a number out at 30%. We don't really know where the number came from, but we took it down less than 30. So we were kind of hoping to get that approved.
Okay, so yeah, so last month when it was here, there was kind of some confusion on back and forth where we were, what we needed, what they needed. There was a lot of golf cart space, and I think we finally decided that just go back to staff. Talk to David, talk to Rick, talk to everybody. You guys get on the same page. So that's
Yeah.
my question is, it sounds like y'all came up with something, a workable solution. Staff has reviewed it. Staff feels like the percentage.
yeah, they
Does it
wanted to
work
stay
with-
behind these carts, but we said, hey, here's a truck can always park in a full parking spot. A truck can't park in a golf cart. So, you know, on the nights where you have this incredibly high percentage golf cart, it's great. But on the nights that you don't,
Right.
it doesn't work. So the solution was to drop 20 of them out, go to 9 fulls and get the full size up higher. And because a cart
Golf
can
cart
always
can
park
park
in
in
one
a
of those.
cart.
So
Yes.
that's what you see. And then we tweak that green space a little bit. And
Nine back in there.
yeah,
So, I've had some constituents that live in and around White, very concerned that on heavy nights, White Street's going to become a parking.
And I can understand that.
And, you know, so you have.
I
some-
can't change the ordinance.
Right, no, I understand that.
Y'all have to have parking.
But I think one of the things that we need to probably do as part of this approval is that White Street get red striped. So we can, the police have the ability then to go ahead, ticket and tow.
I'm good with.
And they're gonna be in town.
Well,
I mean, maybe you do an hourly. I don't know if you want to do striping. I think, I mean, if I'm a homeowner, I don't want to lose my ability to have. Well, here's the thing. So let's just look at that, right?
Okay.
Look at your typical off-street parking in the city is they come in and park over in the grass, right? So does striping it do anything? The cars, if they park on White, they're gonna be like, yeah, they're gonna be pulled up, they're gonna be off the pavement and out of the green, and they're gonna be here. So if your goal is to reduce cars along White, you're better off signing it with a certain hourly thing so that you're not, because I know if that was my house on White and it's the middle of the day and Grandma Betty comes over, I want her to be able to park out in that grass.
yeah, I agree with that. I mean,
Now maybe you sign it so that, well,
I mean,
at
so there's
9 o'clock at night,
People are gonna try to park.
because I mean, I certainly wouldn't want,
Can tell,
you know, people
Right.
parking in my yard.
Right.
And I'm sure every council member and every person in this room would agree with that. You wouldn't want,
And we don't want.
No.
you know, I
We
mean,
don't want them parking in
No.
somebody's yard either.
Right.
That's not what we're here for.
Right, and that's-
So we're not trying
so I
to-
think that's part of this. We need to come up with a solution for White Street, whether it's some kind of signage that is part of the approval
Why don't y'all
process.
lease the donut shop from Bruce parking at night?
Yeah.
well, the new boardhouse parking.
I think they talked about that, but my understanding was that there was already a previous arrangement.
So,
Okay.
So Rick, does 95 spaces meet the requirement?
Yes,
What they need
it
to
does.
place?
And you're right, the math doesn't work. I asked Kelby to give me that number, but it's around 20%. It's
Yeah,
closer to
so
20 than
that's
18.
what that 105
how many people are they gonna be able to put in? I mean, you know what the number is?
I don't want as many as that, you know.
That's what I was gonna say. So if there's plenty, you're not gonna have enough help if you fill that
I mean,
out.
we don't want that. I mean, so
Right.
if it's gonna be one of those nights when they're paying there.
Here-
it would be
That would be-
taxed, so-
Right.
But it wouldn't be an
And
everyday.
here's been the challenge and the dilemma and just the crazy train that we've been on with this is that it's not like anything we've seen before. It's more like a mall. It's more like an amusement park. It's just, it doesn't,
Food court.
a food court. It doesn't,
Outdoor food
it
court.
doesn't plug into any of our very prescriptive categories we've had. So we've taken a worst case approach. You ask about the occupancy, that's based on the uses that he's been giving us. Take the 95 times 4, because it's almost all related to food or beverage service. So, and again, Salty Dog's a good example. Salty Dog's occupancy, because of their building, is greater than what their parking allows for. So it has to be modified. And this is going to be the same thing. His uses are going to have to match. At the end of the day, whatever parking that you approve, whatever is available, his uses are going to have to be pared down, tables pared down, whatever, to get to that. But that's what we based it on now. Again, we just had to assume that even though it's a game area, even though there may not be anybody but kids in there throwing cornhole, we've got to assume that somebody's going to go grab a beer and go in that same area. So those are the assumptions we've made, and we think it's well, we know they're conservative. The golf cart's a completely subjective issue that's in your court, but that's the challenge we've had and why it seems like it's just been so confusing. It's not like anything we've had before. We want to be fair, but we want to be cautious.
Like a back porch.
Yeah.
Steroid.
Well, I like that they took away some of the.
Yeah, my
golf
only
cart.
concern, are we setting a precedent or not when we do this?
Everything is a case by case basis that they
Yeah,
have to
you guys
sell.
could eliminate alternative parking if you
Yeah.
wanted.
Yeah. I mean, I'm okay with
But-
this one personally.
Right,
it's
no,
a good
I
idea,
think this
but-
is good, and I know.
Again, to make it easy in the future, we've talked about this just as a side note,
Signage, we can.
there may be
Figure out where it's.
be an
bad, and
enhancement
then bring up
that a maximum percentage is allowed. If somebody
signage
brings it,
saying you
that in the
guys-
future, there's a
That's
maximum.
what I,
Where the
rather
hotspots
than
are.
ad hoc all the time.
Now, there's not many properties of this size left
Or with this,
to be able to do this. So it's, I
and
mean,
with this usage,
Right.
right?
I think it's a great idea.
okay,
What are the ideas on white then, Tim?
Dave and I were just kind of just chit chatting back
okay.
and forth that, we won't make it part of the deal, but it's something that if it becomes an
Needs
issue,
to be addressed.
we'll instantly,
We'll work with.
Yeah,
you.
because that's all in Chief's wheelhouse. Chief can bring it back.
Well,
Exactly.
if we'll talk about it offline, there's another street, there's some other things
yeah,
that
well,
that
I'm
have come up.
just as the most, that where I've heard most of the concerns from, so. And
So we
like
need
I said, it's nothing against
make
you.
a
No, I understand. that.
Approve this.
I live there. I wouldn't want somebody parking in my yard.
Right.
And we'll work with you guys on that.
Okay. Then I motion to approve. Second.
okay. There's a motion and a second to approve the alternative parking plan for the SIP yard. Any other discussion? All right, Fran, call the roll.
Yes.
Yes.
Councilmember Owens,
Yes.
Councilmember Park,
Yes.
Councilmember Seelow,
Yes.
Yes. Okay, the next item is a presentation from Janak and Associates on the Economic Development Administration EDA grant project for the Harbor Master Office, Main Pavilion and Civic Space.
Thank you, Mayor, Council.
Carolyn.
Let me find,
Carolyn.
Fran, do you know where this thing is?
Yeah.
Where is it?
Yeah.
I think
Good for you.
Oh, I thought she said she already put it on.
yeah, it's right here on mine,
Is it on mine?
it's on
Oh, it's on yours. So you'll be able to push up to that?
Which way are we looking?
Yeah.
Which way am I looking?
Goes on that way.
Either way, you got good eyes that way.
Really nice to see the council. I'm sorry I've been gone for a while.
Oh,
I'm glad you're-
glad you're here.
I'm glad you're doing better.
Congratulations to all our new members.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Small numbers. I like.
This one? Oh, wait.
Yeah, let me do the kick in because this is new to some of you. We'll go over kind of the history of this and so FEMA and the main pavilion. FEMA and the main pavilion did not get along really good. When we were hoping for six figures for the main pavilion, FEMA wasn't too thrilled with some of the corrosion and said, well, that looks a lot older than Harvey. And so we started the parting of our friendship, and their number drastically went down. And I think where's our FEMA team? Are they back there? Yeah, it dropped down from like six figures down to 80, down to 70, down to about 20. It pretty much the bottom dropped out of it. We brought it back to council in the goals workshop, and you guys earmarked 300,000 of hot tax to throw at the main pavilion. And so we've been sitting on that. We threw it in. So the EDA grant, you guys, well, Wendy, you would have been in on the EDA grant because it happened in 2018. The city applied for an EDA grant. It was a federal program separate from FEMA, and they came in and said, hey, we want to participate and give you guys funding for, an economic project. And they said, we'd like to piggyback on something, what do you have? And we said, hey, we're rebuilding all the marina to the tune of about $7 million. And he said, great, we want to jump in on that. What can we do? And I said, well, how much money is it? And he said, well, about 5 million. And we said, great, we need a brand new harbor master office. We need new parking, a new thoroughfare walking around. All the area around the pavilion needs to be redone. Some drainage features. So we worked up urban engineering, myself and Colleen. We moved forward, got the grant. It had a city match of about 1.8 million was the city's match to receive the 5 million from EDA. Pretty good money. One of the things we purchased was we kind of snuck it in. He let us sneak it in, even though it wasn't really economic related, but he let us put in the $900,000 land purchase from the water district over on 9th Street. So we got that whole block. So we bought that whole piece of property where the fire station, lifeguard building, public works is going. So that was a big chunk of it. What's left to do? We've done the big, if you've driven the marina, we've done the big parking area where the old ferry loop was. That's been repurposed, came out really nice. We did those really cool drainage pavers that help clean the water before it goes out into the ship panel. That's finished. We finished the 5-foot hiking pedestrian facility that wraps around the entire bulkhead. Under construction right now is dock 3 and 10, which if you want to go down, you can look at that. That's all the 24, or I believe it's 24, 28 city-owned lifts with boats, boat lifts. So that's under construction right now. So what we're doing now, the building got designed this fall. The harbor master got designed. It came to council. November it went to council. And we've been tweaking it, getting it ready, just kind of fine tuning it. But we're coming to you tonight for a couple things. We want to get this thing out to bid, and we're gonna throw in 6 additives that we think we want to trick the whole area out. We don't think we should leave any stone unturned in that marina area. And Janak's going to go over that, and they're going to go over the 6 additives that we want to add to this budget, and it's gonna bump the budget up. But Darla can tell you how much money we have in the hot tax fund. But our belief is that when we are building this almost LEED certified, this beautiful building, we're redoing the pavilion. We need to get everything, all the groundwork, everything around there needs to be rebuilt. If you've walked it, it's 50 years old and it's a mess and it needs to be redone. So I am going to kick this over to Raymond and Carolyn. They're going to go over the project, just a quick review.
Right.
And then we'll address the additives.
This is generally the project. This is it won't work on it. The new harbor master is to the right, and we're going to do a renovation of the pavilion with a new outdoor barbecue area. And then we'll talk in a little more detail about the flat work, groundwork around the building. This is the plan for the pavilion. Really, the plan really doesn't change much. It's just the renovation of the pavilion.
It has some improvements, though. It's
Lighting.
improved storage for the stage. We have a real stage, not just a, kind of makeshift stage from 30 years ago. But it will be an actual stage. It will have some simple stage lighting, nothing super elaborate, but just, so you can have bands and presentations, the fishing tournament announcements. It does have a prep area to support the barbecue pavilion, which is number 2 there at the top of the page. So we're trying to provide some, sanitary location for the people taking these events on to, actually be able to.
And we call it a barbecue area, but it's really a caterer's area.
Right.
Where in all the caterers will be operating out
So
of it.
that area will basically just have like a 3-basin sink and.
Yeah, as you see
Some
number
counter-
4
right.
in blue, They're at the top.
You have a pointer,
Raymond?
Raymond?
It won't work.
Oh, it doesn't work on the TV?
This is area 4.
Yeah, that, the baby blue area is the,
That's a prep kitchen.
okay.
And it has a hand wash sink and a 3-compartment sink. It'll have not a small, big giant one like you see at a restaurant,
Right.
but it will have a grease trap. And so that'll provide an area for people that want to come and give big cooking events in the barbecue pavilion, which is number 2, is a covered area. And so, they can set that up.
It'll have a counter space and all
Set
that.
that up and they can use that number 4 as their support area. And then we have the 2 gray areas marked in 3 are storage areas. One at the same level as the pavilion itself, and one that's actually at the raised stage. The stage is elevated 30 inches. So that is for the stage itself. And then there's a ramp that goes up along the bottom, so everything is ADA accessible. And the pavilion is, it's old and beat up, but this will, we're replacing what's existing, framed out in wood and dilapidated with CMU, covering it in stucco, so it's gonna look really nice. We're redoing the roof. We're adding some decorative features to it to just, bring it up to our time. And it's been many, many years before anything's actually been done to it. And when those projects were done in the past, they didn't go all the way. And so we're gonna hopefully push it all the way this time through. But yeah, then adjacent to, go back once, just for a second, adjacent to, on the left is the actual harbor master offices. And they are connected by an outside area, but the harbor master office itself is an independent structure. And the first floor is the laundry and the shower facilities for
I'm sorry.
for the users.
It's a yellow is laundry, yeah.
Yeah. And 17 and 21 at the bottom, that's the actual administrative offices for the harbor. And so now we have a nice area where people can come, they can go into the administration area at the bottom, or if they're just coming to use facilities, they don't bother anyone, they just go up there and use the showers, laundry, whatever they need.
And that can be closed off. So after hours, there's no access to it.
Yeah, so it'll increase the security just 1,000-fold around all of the.
The main bathroom facilities for the pavilion will still be across the street. They won't be
Yes.
those right there,
Yes,
right?
now this is for the harbor.
Okay.
This facility is for people who rent slips in the harbor.
Okay.
And,
At least, yeah, the bottom stuff is, yeah.
yeah.
So this will be key coded or coded, so.
Yes.
So not the general public can't get in.
Right.
That'll probably be passcoded somehow,
Right.
like, we have some now, but they're pretty beat up.
Right.
Harbor master.
Okay.
Yeah, and so all of those kinds of, the abilities to determine who uses what will all be upgraded in this with modern locks and key cards and all of those types of stuff. And so then upstairs, we have a multi-purpose room for events, weddings, fishing tournaments, all the myriad things that people might want to do up there.
There's 2 choices. One's the small choice, and the base bid will be the small one to the left, and then the right will be the additive, and that's the larger room.
Yes, the base bid has approximately accommodates 25 in a banquet setting. And the larger one accommodates approximately 50 in a banquet setting. And it does have the green area, kind of lime green. That's a caterer's kitchen. It won't be open for the use of the harbor folks, but it'll be for events. We do have coffee areas in there. That area up there will be a lounge for them as well.
Yeah, and we're going to talk a little bit through this presentation about alternate bids. Alternate bids means you're not authorizing us to pay for that. We're taking a bid to see what it costs, and then we're going to come back to the council with a shopping list and say, we want to do this, we want to do that, whatever. As we all know, construction prices are just
Going up.
We did this estimate in March and who knows what it is in July.
It's already changing.
And so then the other parts of the upper floors, you know, obviously you have some public bathrooms. And then we have some support facilities, storage for furniture, pantries, mechanical. But at the bottom, number 10, that is an observation deck. And so this is going to be a really great facility. People are, I think, really going to like it. They have this big area where they can have parties, fishing events, and go out and to this great deck and overlook the entire harbor. So I think we think it's going to be extremely
And
popular.
you know, we're all hoping for the best on the pricing, but if we were ever going to do the alternate, now's the time to do it.
I mean, I agree with that.
Can't do it later.
Yeah.
It's either now
And
or
so the
never.
deck will it's a great vantage point for looking at boats delivering for tournaments. So it's good position.
I think we have some renderings. I know we do.
And so this is the approach side of the harbor master. You know, one of the challenges for us as architects and engineers is in this particular instance, there's no backside of the building. So we've had to really try to tuck everything away. And I think I hope that you'll think we've done a good job.
And it's also raised up substantially. The elevation of this building for base flood is about 4 or 5 feet above what the pavilion is. So that's
So,
a challenge.
Has this changed any from what you showed us?
No,
in the-
sir.
Okay.
No.
No.
We
Yeah, we
changed the howling water that I'm going to show you. It's now tropical storm. Okay, so, but you can see on the upper left, you can see the observation deck.
And this is the approach from the pavilion side. You can see the palm promenade that leads down to the harbor. The barbecue pavilion, the lower roof there, that's the barbecue pavilion. So people can put their grilling operations just outside the eaves and have a good space in there for setting up their food events. This is just a look from the parking side of the pavilion.
From the
You can
west,
see
yeah.
We're going to create a more decorative ceiling for the pavilion itself, and just generally clean the entire exterior up. All of the disintegrated and rusted metal is being repaired, the column bases, and new masonry is going to be installed around all the columns and stuccoed over. So it'll look very nice. And then here's our
This
is, you know, from the approach from the harbor itself. And you can see up there the observation deck, which will be a great spot to watch for fishing tournaments and for any event that you have. That'll just be an awesome place to sit and enjoy the views of the harbor. While we're looking at this area, because we're going to talk about this in just a few minutes, is currently all this area around the pavilion and where the harbor master is populated by a more industrial facilities, the pump out station. It's where the old crew boats used to dock. The Pollyanna is there. And there is a myriad of pilings and chunks out of the bulkhead. It's really rough along this area. This is going to become, we call it the fishing living room, because it's, you know, going to be the spot where the vents and everything, where everyone's going to be out there and utilizing this space. So we have a pretty large chunk of the project to just go back and clean up the utilities, repair concrete, provide a decent walking service, and to generally bring this area up to the level of the facility as a whole. And we're going to give you some options to see how you want to spend that money.
Where does the pump out station go to now?
I don't know where it's going to be relocated.
What's that?
The pump out station.
It's going to be back over by where the
Right behind the Peggy.
Ann is. There's a fenced area we've built already. It's going inside of that, both the oil pump out and the sewer pump out. And one of the new docks we're building there has a T-head on it where people can come and access that and pump out. more easily than coming into this dead end corner. So that'll be moved as soon as we get all the top 10 over there kind of underway. And one of the other things is we have public sewer there, so we don't have to double haul it and have somebody pump it out. It'll be pumped off a boat into a holding tank and right into the sewer system.
How long was this project gonna take?
About
It will take about a year.
We're estimating 12 months. You know, it could be 10, it could be 13.
Right, give or take.
And,
whatever.
and Terry is our broadest, he's our broadest member, the Del Sol member who's running this. Terry, what's the timeline? Do we have any EDA timelines? I know we have one, but I mean, are we in trouble with anything?
We
September.
submitted the time extension request, a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
We got the response back from Angel just a few days ago. We'll forward that to you. His comment was to me, it is with our leadership right now, we asked for a 6-month extension.
Yeah.
So he's going to request 1 year
Yeah.
on his own. And we got back that email saying that they are reviewing it right now. He expects it to go to DC, where the headquarters, and he thinks that's 99% chance of being
All
extended.
right, excellent.
If we don't get that, the expiration is September of 23.
Right.
So we're up against it. Therefore, that's why we've chosen to go with the advertisement without the consent of POCA and
Yeah.
EDA. And they're both going to be
Right,
rubber
right.
stamped, but I don't want to wait until we get
Yeah,
those
yeah.
approvals and we lose 2 months.
Yeah.
And they have reviewed the plans. We
Both
sent
entities have.
Yeah.
plans to everyone involved so that they can have their 2 cents worth.
So this is where our estimates were in March. And I know I'm repeating myself, but the bid market is just kind of, we don't know, you know. We bid a $34 million project in Corpus Christi, and we had one bidder. Just it's odd.
But this will be a little bit smaller, so maybe more people can
Bond it.
bond this. You know,
Yes.
34 million, that's massive. So
Yeah.
I think we'll do good.
Yeah, I think so. And we're going to solicit some of the bidders.
And then here's let's go over these guys.
Yeah, okay, so alternates, as I explained, they're just to get a price on them and see what we want to accept and award. So alternate one was the expanded second floor, which we talked about on the floor plan, which expand the second floor of the harbor master. Then, I don't know if you noticed, I could go back if you want, there's a little dog park with equipment and fencing to the west of the pavilion. And then one of the things we've been asked to do is, now that we have this hopefully very, very nice harbor master and pavilion, then we have those old restroom and storage buildings. And so we're going to take those and re-roof them and paint them. So that,
Consistent with the new.
Yeah,
Correct.
So
So-
we changed the roof design on 3 other structures to match these new roof.
kind of make it a little campus there.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Everything would have the same colors.
Yeah, perfect.
And then alternate 5, this is what Carolyn and we've kind of been talking about, and Mr. Parsons has been out there a couple of times, you know, between the pavilion and the bulkhead, that concrete is old and it's chipped and it's, you know, and the last thing we want to do is you have this multi-million-dollar great facility and you left me with that. So we're going to take an alternate to replace all that. And maybe even with pavers. We're discussing that with Jim Urban. And then Jim, I'm going to have to let you speak to the bulkhead repair.
Yeah, I don't know if it was 40 years ago, because I was here when the pavilion was built last time, and I can't tell you, we were at the same spot in the same discussion about, we sure like to see all the area around that redone, because I don't know if y'all know, can we go back to the just site plan somewhere?
You can go forward one.
One.
Go forward one.
One.
There you
Okay,
go.
so this bulkhead along here used to be a dock for the Port of Corpus Christi to supply material. They'd bring barges in and haul rock and gravel and stuff over this. So this bulkhead here, if you look underneath underneath the wood and stuff that's over there, it's beat to heck over there. You know, the concrete's all chipped up and everything. And then this area around the old pavilion, same issue. It's going to be a beautiful spot with pavers and it's going to look great. We ran out of money. There was no landscaping and no pavers. And, you know, we always said we're going to come back and do it. Well, it is 20 or 30 years that we didn't do anything. So I implore you to please, if you've got the money, do it the way you want it, because you won't live probably to see it done again. At least I won't. So anyway, this area right here, we looked at this. This is all kind of, this is all new. This is where the old harbor master's office is. This all gets torn down, and this parking lot is just a standard asphalt parking lot. This is the dog park they discussed here. And this all gets redone. This is the existing JC bar. So this parking is what was planned, and it's very similar to that. This is new promenade that gets put in here. I think under the base bid, this all gets concrete, and then this little wavy thing is painted with a color or dyed with a color.
Stained.
We've got to bring utilities in here, so we've got to cut a big piece of concrete, maybe 4 foot by the whole way in, to bring power all the way over this facility. So we get to cut the concrete right along the edge of the pavilion, and then we've got to do repairs along here. So we've got some work here. The base bid leaves this big area right here as the old concrete that was there. You can go out there and take a look. It's not horrible, but I mean, it's pretty bland and pretty chipped up, beat up. And there's all kinds of electrical pedestals and pilings, and that will be out there. And if we left it in the base bed, we'd probably just cut them off and you'd see where they were. All of this in the base bed is concrete, new concrete, which is stained or stained over the top to give this kind of blue look that is being shown in there. This sidewalk gets redone along this bulkhead. It also is stained to give this, and it ties into the loop that goes all the way through. This right here is existing white concrete. It ties into that.
Jim, are they gonna still be able to back the boats up and weigh-ins and
Yes.
stuff right there?
Yeah, I mean, right now, not in that plan, but we've set it up to try to leave that, the pilings that are there and that skirt that are there and not interfere with that. I hope at some point in a bigger plan, we have dock 5 that is, I don't think it's right here. I think it's more over, maybe dock 5 is about right there. I think
No, it's right at that corner.
Yeah, it's
Right here.
but you can kind of see it coming out
Oh,
off
I
that
see it on the
corner.
corner.
That
Yeah, right there.
This shows one here, but anyway, the plan for the harbor, this was where kind of dock 4 was gonna be, right over here somewhere, but we show in the plan to run a floating dock along here and ultimately to where we can come in. If that ends up being too expensive, we may at some point do a dock along here, wooden dock that's down lower, because it's kind of cumbersome the way that is. It's so high to come into it. Oftentimes you're
yeah.
lifting stuff way up.
Yeah,
I think nothing we're doing here would interfere with what's there, and I think leaves open for whatever we decide to do on the front.
okay.
So the first alternative we have here is this piece of concrete right in here. We looked at, if we would like to take this concrete, if you've been around there, the concrete in this area has about a 6-inch step up, and everybody stumbles over it coming in and out. So our desire, and in all the pictures you saw in the renditions, the concrete or surface goes right to the matches there for people to walk in, or ADA and the rest. So in this plan, we transition in the first 4 feet to slope up to that ADA standards, but it'll look like an ADA, kind of an ADA ramp all the way to it. And we leave this existing. Our first alternative is about $75,000 to jackhammer that out and put in new concrete there so that it all looks the same color. But just, my vision of it has always been that this area is the front of the house. This is where everybody's going to see, and this ought to be pretty nice. It needs to be ready, capable of us driving vehicles and setting boats and things on it, but it ought to be beautiful. And so we ran an alternative to make this blue right here just white concrete, because it kind of matches this.
There's
Okay.
another graphic of that. too.
Okay,
So this is, that
this
first
is the one I'm pitching.
Okay, the first one.
Okay,
is
we-
alternate number
Open your
4,
wallet.
And the cost of this is $205,199.
These are estimates. When we bid them, we're gonna find out exactly what they cost.
Then the second one is alternate number 5. This is the paver alternate, and as you'll note, it is actually less expensive than the concrete alternate. And from the aesthetic design standpoint, we think it will be a much preferable look for the,
So will those pavers withstand traffic driving?
Yeah.
Okay. all right.
everything is rated.
Okay.
Requirement of the Port of Corpus Christi, and we wanted to do it anyways, is you can drive completely around the facility.
Okay.
And you can
Thank you.
see those striped areas at the kind of entrances that we blocked off so that that area remains open to pull in boats for displays and.
And even in this area, it's rated. We knew if you could drive a vehicle, somebody will do it.
Yeah,
You know,
there's
they'll- they'll-
vehicles and boats and
So-
stuff for tournaments.
Just out of
Only
curiosity,
When you get over here, do you go to the regular sidewalk or something? All this area we've
Yes,
got
sir.
protected with 6-inch concrete. And the reason the pavers ends up being less expensive than going new concrete is that by raising everything up a little bit to get flush with this, we don't have to demo the concrete under on pavers. We'll just put a sand fill or crushed material under there and put those pavers in. So that's really a pretty good alternative.
And these are, we call them brick pavers just because that's like saying Kleenex, but they're actually concrete pavers.
Yeah.
so what would
There's all
be the,
kinds of varieties and colors. I mean, if you drive, Cinnamon Store Close here has different varieties. Some of them are big, some of them are small. You can do all
Yes, sir.
kinds of patterns if you want to make all this work. So I think it would be a really nice look out
so is there any drawbacks to going with the pavers over the concrete?
Not
I mean, no, we,
Okay.
and we like aesthetic, I mean, engineering wise, I don't think, Jim, there's a drawback, but
Yeah.
aesthetically, we think it's a big plus.
Yeah, no, I knew that, but I mean, I want to make sure there's no drawbacks to it.
No,
Am
I don't know.
Opposing the first one?
You said
Well,
that
it's,
was your
no, my
choice.
favorite is this one.
Oh, okay,
And,
okay,
because I think it's the best bang for the buck.
Option.
right.
And also the evolution was,
Okay.
let's start concreting it, and then we said, hey, why don't we just put concrete pavers over all this and make it all aesthetically pleasing, and then it turned out it's not any more money, it might even be less.
The reality is
Okay.
none of this stuff out here was picked up in any of the earlier estimates, and we're sitting here thinking, we have to cut it for, to put in utilities, we've got to make this along here. And we just said, man, I know the council, when we put this beautiful building and they walk out there and look at that old asphalt and concrete that's been cut up, y'all will be saying, why didn't we do it? So this is your opportunity.
And what part of the design in both of these instances is you can see that we're creating a path along the entire route that's going to be lined with a lamppost. And so we're trying to create kind of a boardwalk effect. I don't know how many people have told me as we worked on these various projects over many, many years and months is, we want a boardwalk. And so we're trying to give kind of a creation through the paving and the lighting of a promenade and boardwalk to go around the pavilion.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
So this
You want me to go
area
back?
that we were just looking at right there, that's kind of like whenever you have fishing tournaments, that's where the boats are gonna be and stuff.
Yeah.
Yes,
Has there been any thought to like where they're gonna hang their fish and weigh them and
The-
do all that?
We're keeping the,
We have one big davit.
Is it gonna,
Either the-
gonna stay there?
we're relocating it, but it's
Okay.
the same one's coming back.
The
Okay.
big single fish.
Yeah.
We could.
To make it look like some of the other places around the world.
Yeah, what we probably need a small fish one too,
Yes.
a small fish hanging board.
We've explored one, I know you and I.
A small fish hanging board?
Yeah, and,
Yeah.
or one that looks like, Fisherman's
Wharf got
Wharf.
One that they pull up.
That's
with a
for
small
both
fish.
big and small, but every time I go over there, it's small
We'll work on
fish.
getting one added.
It's,
Yeah,
yeah.
but we have one designed.
Okay, good.
I think we're really lucky.
But yeah, but no, and then there's also a big one that's motorized.
Yeah, I need to talk to people. I talked to 3 or 4 people. I talked to Dee Wallace and called a couple other people that I thought might know. And you can try it, everybody goes, oh, I don't know. But there is an opinion, but I didn't know. I know that when we go to Fisherman's Wharf, when there's a big tuna, they normally take a forklift and lift it up and then pull it up and lift it somewhere to weigh it. I didn't know whether or not we needed something to swing over a boat to be able to lift it, swing back. I think the old lift had a swivel on it, the one that Claude made, and I don't know if he donated it, made it, whatever, but it's fixed. And it doesn't go over the water, but it's right, goes sideways, and it's behind, pretty far back, so
It is. pretty far
we would
back.
probably move it as close to the bulkhead as we could.
We have it, I think we have it kind of down there by the electrical panel.
I don't think we have, I mean, if we do, I think my opinion is it's probably better served in the center here, right over here.
Yeah.
This is where the boat's coming.
All right.
But
you're right,
whatever
it
needs to be,
Yeah.
needs to be aesthetically
Right,
pleasing.
pleasing.
Yeah.
And promote Port
Yes, and promote for
And
I
if you
agree.
want to include the small fish hanging, we drew the design for it and then we took it out because of the the existing one, but we can put that. back.
Yeah, that small one might be better served over there off where boats are coming in, because they'll come on dock 5. A lot of those small boats
Yeah.
come up there because it's easier to get off. But,
We actually have that designed already, and we send it to Mr. Parsons and he can share it with you.
So this just gives you some monetary options to complete that work. And since the pavers are actually less expensive than the concrete.
We think. We'll see what the bids are.
That be considered first, as long as all of that remains true when we get it bid. And so that's the project. I think it's
And
already-
we're just about ready to go out. I mean, you know, some of you are new to the board and you hadn't seen the presentation, so we were asked to bring it back.
I would really like
exciting.
to get some indication from the council as to whether or not they're inclined to like the paver option, because we're trying to get it out for bid like next week.
I like
And the
the paver.
design on all those are all different. I don't want to do 2. I want to do
I
1.
like the paper.
I don't know how people work the weekend.
What do you think?
I think pavers
What?
are cheaper than the concrete.
Like
Like
pavers?
papers, if something happens, so it's easier to just.
Yeah,
replace
that's
it.
true.
That's true.
To do something in that area, do something
Yes.
else.
Right.
Buttons, your service.
Pavers.
The real question before you is the council inclined to spend $174,000 to improve this area? Because
Yes.
none of the previous ones we've done had $174,000. If you're inclined to do it, we'll put an additive option in for pavers. And then if we can get it into your budget, you'll have
Do we
it.
need to vote on that
I
then?
think just an indication.
Well, it'll be on the alternate list.
Okay.
When it comes, then
It's
you're
already
gonna be
on.
able to award it. But,
Isn't it?
but we're
Okay.
bringing it back to you because we're just about ready to go out to bid.
Yeah.
And we would like to
Bids
go
have
out
to go out 3 months, a month, 2 months, 3 months.
nominally a month.
He'll have a pulse on when he puts it out, you know, they'll start communicating with bidders.
So I would
So
like
they'll-
to see this
yeah.
by next July 4th.
I think that's a very good possibility.
Yeah.
You wanna look at this?
Can we start?
Yeah, we're gonna go with it and we'll,
Right, well, I'm sure you can.
No, I mean,
Well, we don't have to approve anything tonight, they just,
David, get close.
yeah, that's the next item. We're marching forward to the bid. Thank you.
Okay.
Congratulations, great job.
Thank you so much.
For a long time.
Thank you.
Okay, item G, resolution approving professional services task order agreement with Janak Architects, approving task order number 1 in a total amount of $161,744.68 for the Harbor Master Facility and Pavilion renovation, authorizing future budget amendments of fiscal year 2021-2022 budget, and authorizing the city manager to sign all documents associated with said change order agreement.
Motion to approve.
I'll second. Right, there's a motion and a second to approve the task order. Are there any further discussion? Fran, call the roll.
Councilmember Park,
Yes.
Councilmember Owens,
Yes.
Councilmember Krieger,
Yes.
Councilmember Chambers.
Yes.
Councilmember Siddall,
Yes.
Mayor Moore.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Item H, presentation and general discussion on Hurricane Harvey recovery from Broadus and Associates. Michael?
Tony's
Yes, good
second.
afternoon. Couple updates. As you can see, there's equipment and the fencing for the demolition at public safety. We're also working very closely with the specialists from Janak on the programming side. Hope a few more weeks of red line commenting to get that in conceptual drawing. The fire station, we met with the attorney today to prepare the appeal that is due on Friday. Gave that information to the state. Public Works, this is in FEMA's hands. The drawings, the square footage, and the code justifications have been presented. We actually talked about it on our call yesterday. They owe me an answer by the end of the week, or us an answer by the end of the week. The piers, those are moving along. The pile caps at Charlie's Patch start next week, is the hope there. At the Ansel Brundrett Memorial, same thing. We're finished with a lot of the work, but the pier and beams and the panels, should be coming in next week too.
And they're doing all the parking lot right now. It's looking good.
Yeah, around the drainage.
Yep, all the broken
boxes.
drainage that was in front of Klein's back towards the piers, all almost
Working on
finished.
that. Good.
All right, on the bulkhead, they've ripped out the sidewalks and done the work there on the backside. They'll start forming about middle of July, probably more like end of July, if I had to guess, forming the backside of that. We were out at Nature Preserve just today. We addressed some of the stuff Renee had sent us, Ray, I'm sorry, had sent us, but we're expecting the panels, the honeycomb panels that are the mitigation proposal to come in by next week, the first shipment. They're coming out of Canada and the first truck is in Texas. Gas distribution, Leo and the team had their progress meeting on June 3rd, 28th. They'll have another one. They're gonna break it down into 14 phases, so we don't chop the city all up at one time. So it'll be 14 phases within that contract. The first phase is to begin at Mustang Island in the conference center.
And then you're gonna work north?
Coming
Or
north.
you're gonna work, okay.
High pressure, just punching out those things, like we talked about in Community Park. We also talked about the punch list items that still remain there. That is the update for y'all for this month.
A lot of construction.
There's a lot of construction. And we're trying to, especially with the gas system, Leo and the contractor, Mitch, and the water district, there's so much coordination there that trying to get them materials and stuff, and it probably get heavy after peak season. So we don't have much, if any, disruptions in service.
Nice to see progress.
All right, thank you all. Have a
Thank
great
you.
night.
All right, item I is resolution authorizing the sale and or disposal of surplus property which is no longer needed for public use. Authorizing the sale of surplus property by auction or as determined as best option by staff. Items to be sold as is, and authorizing the city the right to accept or reject any bid submitted.
Oh, Darla.
Yeah. If you have a question, I'm sure Darla can answer.
So we've got quite a few surplus vehicles that things have been replaced, and you have your list on exhibit 1 and 2. I will say, especially bunker gear from the fire, last time we tried to auction that, it did not go anywhere. So we just put in the resolution for disposal if things do not get sold. Much of this.
My only
works
question
to
is
disposal.
approximately how much money do you think we're going to get for all this stuff?
The vehicles, you would be shocked.
Can it pay for $175,000 to bring papers?
Yeah, possibly.
Never know.
Yeah.
Or a new something for all these other departments that
Yeah,
need
well, you
stuff.
have hotel
Yeah.
motel money for that.
I know,
And this money should go for other stuff.
it should, for
Yes,
other
'cause it's
equipment,
more general
fire,
fund.
police, I guess.
Yes. You-
Just
You don't
checking.
have, yeah, you don't need it for that.
It's like when you look at this stuff, it's like, ooh, it's a lot. And then you're like, ooh.
But it's shocking
Yeah,
that
it
people
might-
pay for an old rusty beach truck.
Mhm.
No.
Well, and
Yeah,
with the
our-
used car market
Yeah,
right now,
yeah, that's
I mean,
a
we
good
may get
time.
more than, but
The only vehicles we have had lately that have not sold for a lot were the forfeited vehicles that we just sold last week.
oh,
Because they go with a different type of title.
yeah.
But we even put down one of the vehicles. We are open and honest. It had a broken, what is broken frame? One of our lifeguard trucks. And how much did it sell for?
On the website.
Yeah, I think it sold for around
Describing
10,000.
our stuff.
Wow. And we told them broken frame. And they came and they said, we can't drive it. No,
We told you.
we told you you can't
Right.
drive it.
Right. Never know.
Huh.
Okay. Okay. All right.
All right, come on, someone else do it. I don't.
Well, we have. You're good at it.
Okay, but I must approve.
Motion to approve. Is there a second? I'll go ahead and second. All right, there's a motion and a second.
Councilmember Owens?
Yes.
Councilmember Park?
Yes.
Yes.
Councilmember Chambers?
Yes.
Councilmember Scott?
Yes.
Mayor Moore?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, item J, update and general discussion and possible action on the Pelican recycling
I'd like
project.
to table this
And-
one, please,
Oh.
until next month.
Okay,
All right?
you need to take action on tabling the item. This was just a general discussion, so there was no action necessarily to be taken, so we're just going to choose to table it. Take it off the agenda and put it on for next month, all right? right, item K, discuss and take possible action on the use of community service hours for trash cleanup.
This one I brought up, Roxanne has some experience with effective utilization of community service hours for activities activities for trash cleanup and things like that. So maybe I'll give the floor to you if you could speak to it, okay? Give us some ideas of what we could expect if we were to go down this route and problems that you've encountered. Some people I've spoken with have indicated it's sometimes more trouble than it's worth, so.
Well, certainly it's important for people who commit crimes in our city to restore the community for what they did to it, right? We certainly have a lot of defendants who come in who are charged with different alcohol-related offenses, which automatically require at least 8 hours of community service. And the number one question we get in court from these defendants is, where can I do my community service? There are many municipal courts throughout the nation, even internationally, where community service is definitely a component of where they repair the city for the offenses they've committed. Certainly in the city of Dallas, when I worked there, I created things that are called community courts that were nationally recognized as some of the best courts in the country. And one of those components was community service. So I know that we certainly would need someone who would be able to organize the community service event and manage the defendants while they're performing community service. And in many places around the country, that is typically a employee who's been hired, whether it be part-time or full-time, to run the program on specific dates for the programs to be run. Other parts of the country certainly have community organizations that run it for them, but you can understand the difficulties of that happening. So we do have liability forms that we can have defendants sign off on. It's certainly an interest that Councilmember Seeloff has expressed to me, and so I offer it back to you. You do have a city prosecutor who's experienced and versed in it, and so however you would like to proceed.
What are we currently getting out of the community service hours?
There are every single defendant that comes into municipal court by which is ordered to do community service, does community service wherever they can find it.
Mhm.
And they'll submit their certification signed off by a nonprofit organization that they committed or completed the community service. But there is nowhere I, as a prosecutor, send them specifically to, at least not now.
I got some filers.
There you go.
Question.
Rather have been out picking up trash.
Yeah.
But there's a capture of so much community service. I mean, just one docket alone,
Mhm.
I handled 69 cases. Out of those 69 cases, I would venture to say at least 50 of them were related, and it required not only the fines to be paid, but for at least 8 hours of community service. So you could just do 50 cases times 8 hours, and
They're 400 hours.
you got 400 hours there. And
But you
And
have
then
to
if you-
use like a nonprofit for this? Would this be like a Keep Port Aransas Beautiful? How would it be managed? Anyone else have any?
well, so the key is, how is
experience
it managed if
Yeah.
you implement it?
Mhm.
That's always the problem. And I think that most cities that do implement the situation find that a part-time employee pays for itself when you put a dollar value to the hour of community service performed. And typically most cities, all this might be different now, you put a $10 value to an hour performed,
Right.
you got a
What was
chunk
your
of
question?
We've had success with the younger kids, like when a lot of the high school kids get in trouble.
No.
They're easy, the constable's done it, EMS, we've had them wash EMS.
Right.
They're kind of the easier crowd to deal with. It's that little bit older crowd
Yeah.
that it starts, like Roxanne said, the management of them starts getting harder and harder as you go up get into the
right.
older kids. And like the county has done, beach, they bring the white bus in from
Oh, yeah.
Corpus
Right.
and they get off and they're all in orange jumpsuits and
Clean up trash.
they're cleaning up trash on the
I've seen
beach and they're kind of,
Yeah.
they're dragging their bag and they're all mopey and sad. And for a while we just said, you know what, we didn't want them on the city
Right.
beaches because there's families down there and their
They don't-
bikinis and stuff and they're like, "Whoa." So in certain places it has not worked.
Right.
with the younger kids, we've been able to do some pretty neat stuff. I don't know if it's neat, but you know, they're easier.
So,
Right.
I mean, Rick, I mean, you joked about filing. So, I mean, I'm just asking questions here. Is this something that each department head could say, hey, I could use someone to help file, you know, I could use people to help file next week? Can we do that, Roxanne?
Yeah, so the community service I'm sorry, Mayor.
I no, go ahead. I just have a question about the actual people who are,
Yeah, because I supervise the court clerk.
right,
And I don't, out of those 69 cases,
Right.
you're 50, it was spring break court.
right.
So most of your college students that have community service are not
Not
coming back
here.
to this
That-
community.
That's exactly was my question was. So to Dave's point, it's awesome for the kids who get MIPs and they're, you know, and that happens once a year. Maybe there's 10 kids or whatever it is. And they do community service and it's great. And it's, yes. But my question is to what you said, 69 cases, 50 of them needed community service. Well, if they don't live here, I mean, what is the reality of us recovering these people to come back and do community service in Port Aransas?
So I appreciate what Darla said
Yeah.
regarding the spring break docket, but I haven't been a prosecutor with you for longer than just the past couple of months. The most recent docket I had has a significant amount of alcohol-related community service hours as well.
What are
That's
they
a
from Port
really-
Aransas?
When I interact with them, I would say that more than half of the ones that I interact with are from the area.
Corpus Fire
That could get here.
I mean, I think it's
But
a
I-
great concept,
Yeah.
but is it realistic to,
Yeah.
to give someone
Exactly.
community service? I mean,
the one thing that we have to, the trap that we can fall into, and I know James can attest to it, it's before we've tried to dump it on the police.
right.
And we said, hey, go watch these, but then you got one of your,
Yeah.
you know, an officer tied up watching,
Community
service.
you know.
Utilize whoever's
So
coming here.
why don't we do this? Why don't we get a group together, you know, maybe Dave Seeloff could head it up since
I
it's
think,
and do kind of like a little discussion, kind of come up with a plan to see if it's even feasible. So we're not taking time up here.
Yep.
I mean,
sure.
that's my thought.
I think the mayor, if I may, Mayor, I think what you've said is very important.
Yeah.
And I think it's important for me to run some reports for you to
That'd be
be
great.
able to
That would be
answer the
awesome.
question. So I'll work with your court clerk and Darla, if that's okay, to see if we can capture the amount of community service hours and how many may actually be from the area or from within the city limits.
Because I mean, I'd love to see them help beautify the community.
Right.
I just want them to, you know, be people that will show up and do it. File, Rick.
Rick, we'll work on that for you.
Scanning.
Scanning.
It's not fun.
It's in air conditioning though.
No, not here. Sometimes, yeah.
Did community service at Summer Shores at the.
So we'll bring that one back.
Okay. I mean, it's a great
Right.
idea. I just, yeah, reports would be nice to know what's.
Wow.
All right, we're gonna jump to the executive session.
Yes, I think that we will now go into the executive session and we'll take a quick break before we do, but we'll go ahead and adjourn the meeting. Sorry.
And if you want on your break, you can take a look at the bathrooms. They're almost finished.
Okay, really quick.
Yeah.
All kinds of